Hey Paisans, this is Bobby Warren with PlayingWithPizza.com. Hey, today we're gonna make rolls. I've stumbled upon this 5 Roses flour. It's pre-sifted, enriched, bleached all-purpose flour. It's from Canada, the country that gave us Brad Marchand for the Boston Bruins. And hey, I was making some pizza dough the other day, and I just decided on a whim to take half the dough and use it to make some rolls. I just threw the rolls together. I didn't spend any time, measuring. When I cut the dough, I didn't measure it. I didn't do a great job rolling it out. But let me tell you, those rolls were the best I made. So I decided, hey, let's do a proper roll recipe. So I'm gonna do a 65% hydration dough. When I'm talking about it, I'm gonna talk about imperial measurements, but we're gonna have imperial measurements, grams, and baker's percentage in the description. All right, let's go, baby. So I started off with 20 ounces of 5 Roses dough, right? Or 5 Roses flour. However, I'm going to put in 13 ounces of water first. I'm going to use 1.5 teaspoons of yeast. I'm using instant dry yeast. 1.5 teaspoons. I'm going to use, I'm going to go with 1 tablespoon of salt. I'm using fine sea salt here. Getting to the end of this little batch, but my doughs have tended to need a little bit more salt. Now, instead of a sugar, I'm going to use a tablespoon of malted barley syrup. I get this at like a health food store. So I just twirl it around. There's no exact measurements here. And it's going to go in there. This is sticky. This is like dealing with molasses, right? I'll tell you what, I'm going to show you a little trick I do. I'm going to put the flour in, and what I like to do is just cover that spoon with flour and just kind of brush it off. See, it's sticky. And then I'm going to use a tablespoon of Crisco shortening. And so, that's it. I'm just going to stir this up real quick, and then we're going to put it in the stand mixer. I like to go slow till everything's incorporated on the stand mixer, and then increase the speed. I usually go to 2, sometimes 3 when I'm not dealing with a high hydration dough. If I'm doing like a Detroit pizza at 70% hydration, then I'll tend to use a higher speed. Alright, so this is what the dough is looking like right now, and we'll take it over to the stand mixer and get it going. Alright, we got the dough hook attached. We got Right now it looks really dry, but once that water gets incorporated and the flour gets hydrated, it'll look a lot better. See you in 20 minutes. Alright, I'm calling an audible. This has been going for about 5 minutes, and something I learned when I was watching the St. Francis Up Eats video by Charlie Anderson is that Alex from the pizzeria would stop even though he had a salt in it already and just let it rest for a bit to help the gluten formation. So I'm going to let this sit for about 10 or 20 minutes. Then I'll be back. Alright, it's been about 15 minutes. I probably should have done like a strength test. It's looking pretty good right now. I think there's been a little bit of gluten development. Let's continue for another 15. Alright, it's been about 15 minutes. I'm going to take it off now. All right, we had some audio issues with the camera, so we're going to voiceover. So here I am taking the dough out of the bowl after it was mixing for 15 minutes the last time. Remember, we went 5, let it rest. And I'm just going to sit here, do a little slap and fold. Dough's a little wet at 65% hydration. I'm going to shape it, work it a little bit. I probably worked it on the counter, total about 5 minutes. Then, you want to shape it, get into a nice tight dough ball, right, Dave McShane? Where are you, buddy? So anyway, get it, nice dough ball there. Goes back into the bowl. I'm going to cover it, and it's going to sit on the counter and do a bulk fermentation for about 2 hours, more than doubled in size. So this dough weighed 33.9 ounces. So I want to shape them into or divide it into 3 roughly equal portions of dough. I had, you can eyeball this, and when I made an earlier batch of dough, which I was making a New York style pizza, I decided to use one of the dough balls to make rolls. I eyed it, and I did not do a good job. So you know what? Get out the scale, weigh it. So here I am divided in 3 equal portions. And just like we did with the whole batch of dough, we're going to roll these up into tight little dough balls. And then I have those 3 containers there. They're already sprayed with nonstick spray. And so when we get them, we'll put them in. And I might add that my buddy Freddie, who was a baker for Valley Steakhouse, when we worked there together at the restaurant in Daytona Beach, he taught me the basics of baking, and he taught me how to roll the dough like this. I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of rolls he hand-shaped every single day. But anyway, here we go. We're going to cover these, and we're going to throw them in the fridge for 24 hours. All right, so it's probably about 29 hours later. We made some sub rolls using 5 Roses flour. This is not a paid promotion. I've just been doing a lot of tests with 5 Roses. I really love it. So we're gonna roll out this bread a couple of ways, and this is like, we're learning on the spot together. Because I keep forgetting if I should put flour down when rolling out for a sub roll. So I'm gonna flatten it, get it kind of rectangular. Whew. And Maybe I will throw a little flour down. This is kind of a wet dough, 65% hydration. Oven's preheated. Preheating it to 450. Alright, and this, I got some French bread pans that we're going to use. I'm going to just roll it out into a square. We're going to do this two ways. I was watching Charlie Anderson's video on sub rolls, and he does it in a triangle. And you know, I was thinking that, like, if you're a commercial bakery, you know, you're just going to flatten out the dough. So flatten it and just kind of roll it up. Try to keep it tight. Alright, here's where I typically have a hard time, is sealing it up. So you want to get a nice tight seal on this. And I was watching a lot of videos about making sub rolls. You know, Charlie was trying to mimic either an Amoroso roll or an artisan roll. And so I was kind of watching how at the Amoroso Bakery does its rolls, and it looks like they use, you know, automated equipment, right? So people aren't rolling this out by hand. And also I watched this artisan bread company do the same thing, you know, do it by hand, and they get it to about 17 inches. I don't know if we're 17, but look, we're right there with the length of the bread. We're going to get some non-stick spray. I kept wondering if I should hit this with non-stick spray or with cornmeal, and I settled on non-stick spray. Alright, so this is mine. Now what Charlie does is a triangle. So he'll roll it out, he'll shape the dough into a triangle, and then he'll roll it up. And I've seen some people do that with like a baguette. So that's what we'll try to do here. Kind of stretch that out, get this wider. Alright, a little flour, This is feeling a lot different than the other one. So let's roll this out. Try to get these corners a little bit, come in with this, come out over here. Try to get that flat. Alright, so now we'll roll this up. Try to keep it tight all the way down. Get a nice seal on it. Yeah, if you don't get a nice seal on it, it's just going to split apart. Alright, so there's like too much flour. Now it's hard to roll this out. Here's our seam. We're going to work it. Seam coming undone. So I think I put a little bit too much flour on this one. But anyway, try to tuck those ends in. This will be the second one. So this is just rolling a rectangle. This is the triangle. So B for Bobby, C for Charlie. So B comes before C. So we're gonna let these rise for an hour covered, and then we'll be back. All right, so it's been about an hour, and here's the bread. Okay, remember B before C, so the way I rolled it is up here. I'm gonna stretch it out a little bit. Get it there. And because B comes before C, I'm going to do one score down the middle. I kind of like that look, that one score when you see a sub roll. And here I'm going to give it more of a traditional 3 scores. So this is the way I rolled this, the way Charlie did. I rolled this the way I think it should be done. I'm going to spray it. Come on. I'll spray it a little, and then we're going to go in the oven. Alright, so I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to spray it a little bit more. And this pan has been preheating for an hour, just like I want to get some steam working. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes. Let's look at what I'm calling sub rolls. Ooh. Look at these bad boys. These look really good. So here's the one that I rolled like Charlie's. Here's mine, and I like mine a little bit better, but remember we had a little issue with rolling up the second one. So as I've mentioned, I've been doing a lot of testing with these 5 Roses flour. It's not a paid promotion. I just stumbled upon this. Thought it was like Sir Rose flour, but it was 5 Roses. It's pre-sifted, no lumps, right? It's bleached and it's enriched. And you'll notice, like in Charlie Anderson's video, he used dough conditioner to get it to be a little bit soft. This has ascorbic acid and amylase in it, so I think it has pretty much dough conditioner built in. So I didn't do anything. So I didn't use any dough conditioner, and I used malted syrup. But these look really good. There's the bottom. They feel really good. They're a little bit warm right now, but I'll still probably cut into it and then see what it's like. I'll probably cut into Charlie's. But anyway, let's kind of get into this a little bit. Now, I grew up in Italian town, Revere, Massachusetts. We had an Italian bakery, Castiello's, right up the street. Man, there was nothing like getting hot bread. Look at that crumb. Really nice. It's like, I don't know if you can hear it. So it's soft interior. It's got a little bit of a crispy exterior. That was a pretty good roll. Not bad at all. typically when I'm making a roll out of pizza dough, that the bread is just too hard. The outside is like a shell, the inside is really dense. But this is soft. It's soft. It got a little. It's crispy, but it's not hard, you know. And you might be saying like, "Hey, look, that's pretty big. How is that a sub roll?" Well, what I did was I watched some video by Merzbacher's. It's an artisan bakery in Philadelphia, and they make their rolls like 17 inches, right? And then steak and cheese, or cheese steak. It's steak and cheese in Boston, cheese steak in Philadelphia. So they'll cut it in half, and then they'll use half. So I followed Merzbacher's kind of the way he rolled it out. You know, it's about 17 inches, cut it in half, and boom, there you go. There's my sub roll. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed these 5 Roses flour videos. I'm really impressed with the flour. It does a good job. I think it's better for bread and rolls than it is for pizza. But anyway, we're going to keep testing, and we're going to keep playing with pizza. As my great grandma Abundandoli used to say, manja, Bobby, manja. Ciao.